All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about what Danny Garcia had to say about his fight with Errol Spence Jr. leading into his fight with Jose Benavidez. Man, excuses. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Danny Swift Garcia, the former WBC welterweight champion, former unified 140-pound champion, and a guy that is about to make his return for the first time in about 2 years in the ring against Jose Benavidez. However, in a recent interview, he says something that I got to make a comment about. Which was that he had a lot of anxiety in the lead up to the fight with Errol Spence Jr. and forced himself to take that fight. Before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you so much for your support. Thank you very, very much for continuing to watch the channel. Make sure you hit that like button and hit that share button. It really does help the channel grow. All right, so let's get into this. Danny Garcia, come on, man. It seems like everybody that Errol Spence Jr. beats got a reason. You know what I mean? Now, I know that there are real legitimate reasons out there that people lose fights, right? I know that. So I don't doubt that Danny Garcia is telling the truth when he's saying that his mind wasn't all the way right leading into that fight and he had to force himself to take that fight, right? However, here's the thing, man. Danny Garcia has been a world-class fighter for a very, very long time. Okay, a very, very long time. And he's a unified champion at 140 pounds. He got in there with guys that had reputations for being killers, like Lucas Matisse. Winds up beating Lucas Matisse, knocks out Amir Khan, one of many people to knock out Amir Khan, right? Just, has been in there with a bunch of cats, definitely proven that he's a world-class fighter. Been in there with Keith Thurman, one-time Thurman, who can knock you out with one shot. At the time that he fought him, was still somebody that had a reputation for being able to knock you out with one shot, right? Got in there with Danny Garcia, even though he didn't win those two fights, definitely, proved that this dude is a top level fighter, right? However, when he gets in with Errol Spence Jr., he, for the first time in his entire career, got completely shut down. Like, wasn't a close fight. I went to the fight, so I was there, but I didn't hear. When you're actually ringside for the fight, you don't really hear the scorecards and do all of that stuff like you do if you watch on TV. But I remember being of the distinct opinion that Errol Spence Jr. was winning every second of every round, and he was doing it without necessarily being overly aggressive. Was just you beating him with a jab, body shot, rinse and repeat over and over and over and over again, right? And Errol Spence Jr. himself did not necessarily look like the killer that Errol Spence Jr. had looked like in the past, or that he looked in that last fight that he had against Yordenis Ugas, right? And leading into that fight, Errol Spence Jr. had a huge car accident, right? Where people were wondering whether or not he was going to be the same, whether or not he was going to be able to actually fight ever again. So, I'm trying to get my head around what exactly would make you so worried about Errol Spence Jr. in that particular circumstance. The guy had a very long layoff, coming off of a car accident. Now, maybe it was some stuff, just stuff in his personal life, right? and that's general anxiety you have has become, in life, and just could have been one of those bad moments. But you would think that as soon as that bell hit, all of that stuff is going to go away, man. And you're going to get back into doing the thing that you know how to do, right? Your muscle memory and your muscle memory and your skill set are going to come in there, because as a boxer, you're supposed to be the most comfortable in a boxing ring. But not saying that he's not telling the truth, because like I said, mental health and anxiety and all of that stuff is very, very real, and it can affect people in really strange times and really unfortunate times. It can really affect people. So I'm not saying that it is, I'm not just trying to discount it totally, like he's just making it up or whatever. I think Danny Garcia is a guy of his word. It just seems to me, it's like, man, every win that Errol Spence Jr. has, it seems to me that there's a reason why it happened that takes a little bit away from the luster of Errol Spence Jr., especially like this particular scenario. You get a guy that Danny Garcia is a world-class fighter. Again, like I said, a multi-divisional champion, one of the best fighters in that division, clearly. And Errol beats him off of was it a year and a half layoff, whatever it was. It was a long layoff. I don't think it was a full 2 years, but it was a long layoff. And coming off of a car accident where, he got thrown 30 feet in the air, landed, fortunately didn't break any bones, but gets in there after that and handles them quite, in a one-sided fashion. Now, Errol, for his take on it, if I recall, said he felt like he was about 80% for that Danny Garcia fight. And so if Danny was feeling a lot of anxiety leading into the fight, and Errol was feeling like I could imagine Errol feeling some anxiety going into that fight, but his physical abilities are only around 80%, right? Then, hey man, that's a fair fight, man. Ain't no need to diminish what the man accomplished, because that is probably one of Errol Spence Jr.'s best accomplishments, is that win over Danny Garcia. First, he didn't take a tune-up at all. He said, and this is another thing that gets me. People always want to talk about Errol and how Errol had, how he didn't go right to Terrence Crawford, right? He picked all these other guys to fight and not fight Errol Spence Jr. Man, what do you think Terrence Crawford's going to do if Terrence Crawford got thrown out of a car 30 feet, bounced on the ground? Do you think he's going to go right into a fight? And say, no tune-ups. Tune-ups are for people that are not confident. I don't need a tune-up. I'm going straight in there, right? That's and I think that really is one of the best accomplishments that Errol Spence Jr. has had in his career to date, is that Danny Garcia fight. So to have it diminished by, him saying that, he wasn't already there, he wasn't, his mind wasn't there, hey man, I don't know what you can say other than tough titoise, you know what I mean? Because that's just how it rolls. Now, I'm not saying that Danny Garcia is not telling the truth or anything like that. All I'm saying is, look, man, I wish that you wouldn't say it, because it does distract from the other guy's detract from the other guy's victory, and a guy that had a lot more reason to feel apprehensive or to feel anxiety heading into that fight than he did, right? Because Errol was the one that really did go through something severe and had to make major adjustments to get back to where he was, even to walk and be able to hit a punching bag. I'm sure that guy was sore beyond belief for months. But anyway, it is what it is. That's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.